Well, here we are again. Days after spring in the UK emerged, the cold grey clouds now loom back over the country and its cricket team. We've already topped our total score of the last match with just over 200 runs scored, and yet it somehow still feels like England missed out. They went for the extra batsman and two spinners, which given and I can't believe I'm saying this, pitch seems like a questionable decision. The ginger trio of Bairstow, Stokes and Pope all look very much in before some silly dismissals and barring a nice Dan Lawrence knock, a classic England collapse. I'm Tommy Stewart and you're listening to the Murali Daily, sponsored by Sam's Chicken and Lion Beer. Use the hashtag Uncle Johnson to get involved and follow us on social media at MuraliEnd. Also go to our pinned tweet on our Twitter page to find out more details on winning a personalised 100 shirt of your choice. On the Murali panel today is Monday Al's Owen Blackhurst and comedy writing legend Matt Owen. Owen, I know you want to talk about shot selections, so the floor is yours, mate.
I think I'm probably going to go against the grain a little bit here, and also to people on social, and also Straussy and Ebony Rainford Brent in the studio. I think cricket's a difficult game mentally, and I think if you look at some of the shots, you've got some scrambled minds and techniques there. There's been absolute carnage in the last two tests. They've got no time to get away from the game, and cricket can follow you around. I think anyone who's played knows if you get a bad dismissal, you think about it. You know, if you play a shot that gets you out, you think about it, and they've got no time away from it at the moment. So if you look at Sibley, it's a bad shot. There's a huge gap, but they're a little bit scrambled, and I just think it's very difficult for people to judge it completely on saying, well, they're simply not good enough. It's not good enough batting. Now, I know it's a good pitch, but just because they're highly paid professionals doesn't mean they're immune to the mental side of the game that follows everyone around who plays it. So I think, you know, Crawley, you look at it and you think, oh, he's probably gone out to try and dominate Patel before he gets one with his name on it, and he's played a rash shot. So there are, on the one hand, it isn't good enough and there's some difficult shots, but I think there's so many mitigating factors. I don't think there's probably ever been a harder time to be batting in India in history with all the other things going on. And imagine just sitting there thinking about your wicket all week. You know, we all do it as recreational players. Tom, I don't know about you, but if you get yourself out, are you thinking about it until the next time?
I got myself out like last season, like three times the same way in a row, which were just, you know, silly. Me just trying to get myself in with a few defensive shots, and then I don't know, second over, just trying to slog it, and it just chipping off the, you know, top edge into mid off or whatever, and yeah, kept getting got the same way. And yeah,
it's horrific, isn't it? And you think about it all week. So, and we've got jobs to go to and other stuff to do, and you know, all they've got to do is sit there all week thinking, fucking hell, am I going to get another one that I don't know where it's going? And the fact is, it ends up on probably the best pitch of the whole winter, I'd imagine, that they're just probably a little bit scrambled. And, you know, there was some good stuff as well. There was some. I mean, I thought Ollie Pope really, really worked hard and didn't go on to get a score, but I was very pleased for him. He's had a difficult time of it, and he's been coming back after injury. Lawrence looked fantastic. You know, Lawrence looked really, really good, and Stokes looked great as well. But I think very easy to sit on the sidelines and say that's just not good enough. But I would give them a little bit of leeway.
And well, yeah, you mentioned Pope, and as we all know, well, I think we can all agree that he's a fantastic player. I think Graham Swan was saying on the commentary at one point when I was drifting in and out of sleep that he's literally the replica of Ian Bell. And if even when he's, you know, even fielding in that helmet, and if he goes on to have half the career Ian Bell does, then that's a great career. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't know if it's too hard to say, isn't it? If it's it's not a good score, but you never know. I for some reason I have a feeling we could go out in the morning and Jimmy could get a fifer again. Like, you don't know. As you saw with his bowling in the morning, you know, he came out. I don't think he let any runs go, did he, today?
No, he's very tight. I agree with Owen. I think a lot of the times on tours it's criticised that we're undercooked. I think we're overcooked at the moment mentally, and also just playing Test cricket is another thing, because you're under so much stress. I mean, you know, going back not too far, you know, you had games in between Test matches, and players could they could go out there and score a few runs. Not now. It's just straight into test matches, and it's up even more at a level now because at the moment we got with the whole pandemic thing, they're in a bubble and they can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run, and we're under a lot of pressure. I mean, I don't think we can't go around blaming the pitch this time. Yeah. But I think what I saw. I mean, I saw the last 5 wickets and I saw the other wickets on the highlights. I thought Lawrence played another lovely little innings. I know it's got to be more than that, but I don't think we should be too harsh on them, to be quite honest with you.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Matt. What you mentioned about the score there, it isn't a good enough score, whichever way you look at it, on a pitch like that. But forget the pressure they're under anyway, for being a longer way of time. I mean, India's resources. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, Siraj can just come in and bowl. I mean, I absolutely love him as a cricketer. I like everything about him, from his hair to his ebullience to the way he bowls to, he's chatting with Stokes a bit and he's got a little bit about him. And we obviously know he had a very difficult time of it in Australia. But I just think they can keep plucking players out. The depth of talent in the moment in India. And I think, Tom, you'd have listened to the Greg Chappell interview on the Great Cricketer when he said that India could have the 5 best 11s in the world. And I think we're probably starting to see that now.
Yeah, and I think Monty Panesar was actually tweeting. I think he made a really good point on Twitter about this, saying they're producing all these IPL players and all these incredible T20 players, and they're just throwing them into the test team, which is something we see. Obviously, they're different forms of the game, and not every T20 player. I mean, look at Owen Morgan. Not every white ball player is built for Test cricket. However, we're supposed, we're the World Cup champions. At one day, where the number 1 ranked T20 team in the world, surely we have enough, we bat deep enough to be throwing some of these players in. And that seems to be what India are doing. And Siraj was going to be my next point, actually, but go on.
I think the difference is, Monty makes a good point there. And you'll have seen it and we'll have all seen it, is we produce overcoached players and Indian players are undercoached. They play a wider variety. They come through tape ball cricket and tennis ball cricket. And whereas good players now in England, they're going to, a lot of the time, they're going to very good schools. So they get a lot of good coaching then. Then they go into academies and county setups. They spend a lot of time on bowling machines. It doesn't make them bad players, but it makes them, I don't think one-dimensional is fair because we've got multi-format players. But your point is right, that every Indian player seems to be multi-format. You could put them all in any of the teams, whereas every England player doesn't seem to be. And I think it does go down to overcoaching.
Yeah, I think overcoaching has been a problem in this country for a long time, especially with actually no, you can look at Jimmy Anderson, for instance, when they tried.
I was going to say that,
remodel his action, which nearly did for him, to be quite honest with you. So, and then I think it was himself who actually said, no, I'm going to do this my own way. But overcoaching has always been a big problem in this country.
Yeah, you can spend too long on a bowling machine, can't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's what they tried to. Jimmy was in the test team under Nasser, wasn't he? Like 02 or 03 or something. 03, I think. He said he was playing the 05 Ashes, and he was playing pretty well for Lancashire, but it was around that time the England setup were trying to change his action. And I remember, he was my favourite player because he had like the red hair and stuff like that. And I remember my dad saying at the time, funnily enough, like he's got a brilliant action. Like, why change it? Because the whole problem was that he put his head down, wasn't it? They thought he didn't keep his head up long enough. He would kind of bowl and his head would go down on the follow through. I mean, but look at it, it's bollocks. And we do try and overcoach and overanalyze things. I think especially now with, I don't know how much it is in cricket that they look at stats and stuff, but it's a very numbers-based and statistical sport. And obviously they do it in football now with all that XG and stuff and what you're expected to do. It seems to be more fun, like Indian and Pakistani cricket to play. And maybe Australia are guilty of the same thing. I mean, you look at Aaron Finch, Aaron Finch for Australia, and he had, after the Smith and Warner debacle, he had like one or two bites of the cherry of Test cricket, and then they're like, you're not good enough, so we'll just make you the white ball captain. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's like Owen made a good point with I played in the park last summer with a bunch of Sri Lankan lads we turned up with our pads and our Red Bull and stuff. We wanted to use the same cricket pitch they were. They just said, come play with us. And they were all just playing table. And they were like, why would you play with a Red Bull on this soggy, rubbish pitch in Fallowfield in Manchester? Let's just play table. And I'll tell you what, like, I've never faced anything like it. It was terrifying, like harder than any red rock I've ever faced. So yeah, I think there is a problem in that.
Yeah, and there's smaller sample size as well. India, it's the national sport, and everyone plays cricket. And unfortunately, they don't in England anymore. So often, the people are getting through are ones. It's become a privilege. It has become a privileged game to get through to the national setup. You don't see many lads getting through from comprehensives anymore, do you?
No. I think it's I think a lot of it is about attitude as well, because I remember when Peterson came into the team in 2005 and he scored those 250s at Lords, it was a completely different attitude towards the game. And because we had some good players, but we became pretty bogged down. And I think also, if you look back in history, you look at all kinds of players, it is about the way they carry themselves at the crease. And I think that goes with over-coaching myself. I think people become bogged down with how do you behave in a certain situation? Do you have the nuts to go out there and play that way in a certain situation? I mean, I think Pope is a fantastic player, and he was gutsing it out today. And but I think he's got terrific ability. I'm not worried at all about England's batting lineup, to be quite honest with you. I just want to see us. I want to see these guys just play the way they want to play. And I'm not talking about running down the pitch, or first or second ball trying to smash a slow bowler out the ground. And I'm actually not too worried about Dan Lawrence. I mean, I was looking at my phone, and I'd looked up, and he was just running down the wicket. And you know when someone's going to get stumped. And I thought, oh well, okay.
I think Lawrence gets a bit of a free hit, doesn't he? He's been batted out of position before this. He finally gets a chance at 7, which is one lower than, it's a little bit lower, but he finally gets a chance a little bit down the order, and he batted well. He looks like he knows his game, and it's in good order. But I agree. I think apart from Josh Buttler, they're probably 7 of the best 10 English batsmen who are playing there today. There's a few on the sidelines, and you've got to trust them. Hard tour. We've said it before. Let's see where they are after an English summer as well.
Yeah, and I don't think it's over this Test match anyway. We're only a day in, and at least it's not going to be a 2-dayer. I wanted to talk about briefly Pujara. I know it's only the beginning of his innings, but it was just like the last few overs. One of the commentators, I can't remember which one it was, but England was sort of trying to. We had some people bringing water on, and Joe Root and Jimmy Anderson were having a long chat. And they were saying, yeah, this might get to Rahane a bit, but it was Pujara facing, and he just said Pujara, patience personified, which I thought was a lovely alliteration, lovely bit of commentary. Anyway, and I know we've revelled about Pujara before. I don't know if it's just me, but I have a feeling he's going to stick in again, and everyone's just going to bat around him, and then it will end up being Pujara and Pant. That's going completely against what I said before, that Jimmy could just skittle them in the morning.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be surprised, would you, if it was 550 for 8?
Exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
There was also that situation when the ball came off someone's boot and it went to the keeper. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that was Lawrence as well, wasn't it? Just after Pope got out.
Yeah, I've got a problem with that because the soft signal was out. How the hell can the soft signal be out? I mean, that's ridiculous. That is. I mean, I remember there was a situation like that in Ashes Test match where Wayne Phillips smacked one, and I think it hit Alan Lamb on the boot, and David Gow caught it, and that was massive because England won the Test match. It was in the last session on the last day, and England went on to win the Ashes. But I can't figure out why that's the soft signals out. It just doesn't.
Yeah. It seems a bit bizarre, doesn't it? With something like that, when there's so many ways it can't be out, or it could have hit the floor. I think you're probably right, and you've got to look at Bairstow as well. You know, he's
I was going to mention this.
A marginal umpire's call. I do feel for players when they get those that go against them. I'll be honest, because he looked like a man who'd got 2 ducks to begin with. Then I thought he looked to be steadying it pretty well. Few flashing cuts, so you thought, come on, Johnny, go and get a 50 for him as much as anyone else. But tight umpires calls like that, I'm not going to get on a player's back over that, I don't think.
And he had that, oh bless him, he had that face again, didn't he? He had that face of just pure shock, of where he was stripped of all his experience and adulthood and all the brilliance that we've seen from over the years, and he just looked like a naked little boy out there, just like completely, because I don't think the umpire was giving it for so it ended up being LBW, didn't it? Looked like a really high one. I think, but the umpire was giving it for a catch, right? Like, and it's one of them, and I really had to. I mean, I would like to apologise. I nearly put a tenner on Bairstow getting a century, but I thought, no, that's a bit silly. Put a tenner on Stokes getting a century because I just had a bit of a Headingley feeling. Every time Stokes gets in, I have a Headingley feeling. And Matt, I'd also just like to reference back to you saying I've got a lot of problems. Very, very Frank Costanza of you there, Festivus. I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about them.
Yeah.
So well, that's day one. What are your predictions, lads, just for the rest of the test? Are England, what do we want from this? Can we be as optimistic to be looking for a win, or is a draw the best we can get at this point?
I think you have to be optimistic in the situation we're in, both globally and as an England fan. I think tomorrow morning, the pitch has had a day of play. We've got Leach, Bess, and Root. If the ball starts to turn, India have had some collapses as well. Let's be honest, it's their bowlers that really won the last test.
Well, Kohli said that, didn't he? Kohli said that the batting wasn't good enough from either side. Yeah,
so I think if we can get them out for around 250, and I'm not the only one to say that, I think that's widely accepted. You don't want to concede a lead really of more than 50, and there's every chance, but you just don't know. I mean, because Rohit and Pujara tomorrow morning, like you say, Pujara could just stonewall it and Rohit could tee off around him. They could have another 100 runs on the board by lunch tomorrow. So I'm optimistic, but I could also see how it could go very wrong very quick.
Yeah, I think 100. If they get 100 ahead, I think it's all over. But there again, I think we can bowl them. I think we can bowl them out for 200, 250. I think we're well in the game. That
is the optimism I like to see, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think we can do it. I think we can. I think there might be a bit of a backs against the wall thing in the England camp, and that might be a good thing on this occasion.
Yeah, I agree. And just before we go, I am doing my unraveling, and it's not my pink dildo. It is my.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't
it? Tommy has just unboxed what isn't a marital aid, but is instead a lovely Kookaburra grip for his bat. What bat have you got, Tom?
Kookaburra. I've got a. What is it? I got it for my 30th last year, so it was reduced to about. I think it was like 280 from about 500 because it's like football boots, isn't it? Even though it's still as good, all the kids want the next seasons. It was just purely because it was last season's. What's the name? It's the one that Ricky Ponting used to use.
Right, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's right. Okay, good.
About 6 grades down, but I just fancied. The thing is, the most I hit last season was about 18 runs with it, and I think 3 of my team, who all didn't have bats, borrowed it, and I think someone got a century, and Luke, who's a part of this team, got a half century. I didn't score any runs with it, so I thought late last night maybe a change of back grip, like a a back grip where everyone is going to sledge the fuck out of me will change my fortune.
Everyone knows that's going to make a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, and I've got my first net on Saturday with Johnny, Luke, and Sam, all of the Murali panels. So,
have you done anything mad, like decided you're going to have a new trigger movement for the new season or anything like that? Because I do that all the time, and then I realise that standing still is just a lot better.
Well, I said to the lads the other day, boys, I think I'm going to try leg spin this season because I can't really do off spin, and I can about 1 in 20 balls I can get a really nice length and get some turn on it. Just so I can select myself. Otherwise, I'm going to have to fucking drop myself, to be honest.
What, you're just going to be like the Duncan Fletcher of a midweek fucking team?
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Unbelievable.
It's tragic, a tragic sport. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with the Murali Daily with hopefully there's some better news from England. And yeah, we're still in this test. So a positive podcast, I thought that was, boys.
Yeah, cheers, Tom.
Cheers.